Good morning. Welcome to Trading Hour. I'm Reema Tendulkar. With me is Hormuz Fatakia, and markets are under pressure for the fifth consecutive day in a row. The Nifty is now trading below 21,900, a 130-point cut. Sensex down 400 points, and now the week-to-date loss for the benchmark index stands at 3%, and for the mid-cap index, it stands at close to about 3.5%. So geopolitical tensions, worries, the risk about, it turning into a broader Middle East conflict, continues to stay top of mind for investors.
If someone wants to look at the glass half full versus the glass half empty, you may want to say that it's not as worse as you feared at 8 o'clock in the morning when the Nifty was down 350 points. But yeah, as you mentioned, right, the Nifty, we opened gap down as expected. We slipped marginally below 21,800. Now we are back above those levels, but we are still down for the week. We are down for the fifth day in a row now. And we have almost given up everything that we had gained in that 1,000-point rally that the Nifty had seen from those March 20 lows of 21,710 or 21,860 is where the Nifty lies, a 130-point cut as we speak. But pull up the Nifty Bank as well, and that would be the one in focus because HDFC Bank reports results tomorrow. So we'll have a reaction for it on Monday off the lows, but below the mark of 47,000. And HDFC Bank, though, ahead of results, is up 0.6% in an otherwise weak market. What is not doing well this morning? PSU banks are not doing well. The PSU bank index is down 1.5%, the top sectoral loser this morning, as is the realty index. That index continues to see some profit booking at every opportunity. So the PSU bank index is down nearly 2%. The realty index is down 1.5%. Also not doing well is Nifty Auto, and the auto index is also down 1.5%, and the losses are being led by Bajaj Auto. Strong earnings, strong commentary from the management, but there are certain brokerages that called the stock expensive, and hence Bajaj Auto seeing a 3.5% cut below the 9,000 mark now. Strong earnings, but seeing a bit of profit booking because the stock had quite a bit of a run up before.
Oh, we had spoken to one of the analysts yesterday on the entire auto pack, and he said Bajaj Auto is trading at about 26 times forward multiple. Compare that to a Hero MotoCorp, which is at 17 times, and TVS Motors at 13 times. So the only reason why Bajaj Auto continue to see this re-rating and hold on to these valuations is because every quarter they reported strong numbers and there was an earnings surprise. So even this quarter we've seen good numbers. It's just that I think investors may have said this is it, right? Too much, you've run up too much. But let's begin the show by focusing on the big mover, and that's commodities. Multiple metals are hitting multi-month highs. Manisha gets us up to speed with the details. Manisha.
Thank you for that, Reema. Well, it started as a roller coaster of a ride for various asset classes, including commodities as well. But while we have seen some correction now come in for crude and gold, it is the industrial metal prices which continue to hold strong on the back of stronger fundamentals. We have seen supply disruptions from mines or smelters coming in. It has been about improving demand. The global data has been on the positive side, including China for the last couple of months. And then the street believes that apart from infrastructure and autos, the defense demand for many of these metals also could be going higher with the way the geopolitical tensions really seem to be sprucing up. So that in turn have supported metals even more. I'll start with nickel because the best of the gains have come in for this one. 29-week highs on this. 9.5% of a jump up in last 1 month is what we've seen in case of nickel. Tin is also trading at a 2-year highs. The battery and the soldering demand is on a higher side. And then there are reports of mining disruptions in Myanmar, which is a major producer, is the reason that tin prices are trading at a multi-year highs. Copper continues to surge up, and we are now at a 2-year highs onto this one as well, up 8% in the last 1 month. This also is about supply disruptions, smelting concerns coming in from China, all of that keeping the copper prices in favor. Aluminum prices are now trading at a 14-month highs, and we also have seen almost 15% of a jump up in aluminum in last 1 month. Add to that iron ore, that one is trading at a 5-week highs, and the coal prices has been the latest runner as well. That one is trading at a 15-week highs. Here as well, the prices have gained up by 5.5% in last 1 month itself.
Plenty of movement there in the commodity prices, and there's some updates coming in from Chile as well. This morning, the largest producer was facing some supply disruptions there. Thanks a lot, Manisha, for joining in and sharing all the commodity updates, and also courtesy the geopolitical tensions that we have been facing since the morning. But the other big market cue, along with the geopolitical tensions, earnings, they continue as they are, and Wipro will be reporting their fourth quarter results later today after market hours. And Reema, what are the expectations there? Because Wipro has been an underperformer recently. what in terms of guidance can you expect from the company?
Well, so Wipro gives you a quarterly guidance and not an annual guidance, right? So that gives you a clear picture of the near-term visibility. But purely in terms of numbers, Wipro has been struggling. They also have a very large consulting portfolio, and consulting is the first to get hit when discretionary spends come down, because ultimately you're advising clients on how to improve your ROI. It's not that there is an immediate ROI which comes in when you cut costs. So, which is why consulting gets hit, and Wipro has been hit badly because of the discretionary demand slowdown. In fact, for 4 quarters in a row, as you can see, the company has been reporting negative revenue growth, and this quarter too, it will be a negative revenue growth. According to our poll, the constant currency revenue growth should fall by 0.3%, and this would be the 5th consecutive quarter of a revenue decline. Margins for the company are seen largely stable at about 16%. The key is going to be the Q1 guidance. Now, Q1 is historically, for the industry, it's a better quarter, seasonally strong. So we're working with a 0 to 2% kind of revenue growth. But, after what, Infosys has guided, I think the street will watch this number very closely. Apart from that, in terms of the softer commentary, one, there is a CEO change. Thierry Delaporte has stepped down. He was the CEO, he was the Frenchman, and he stepped down ahead of his term ending in June or July of next year. So the reason for his stepping down, and 2, the new guy on board, Srinivas Pallia. He is an insider. He's been with the company for over 30 years, 3 decades. So what's his strategy going to be to revive growth, get growth back to industry levels? Also, the company in the last interview had said that there are green shoots in discretionary demand. Now, are those shoots, getting a little bigger? Are they turning into small plants? And I think that's something the street will want to watch. The recovery in Capco, because on Capco, the company had spoken about double-digit quarter-on-quarter growth in their order intake. So, these two were the silver linings in the Wipro's numbers last quarter about growth reviving. Finally, this company too has seen 5 consecutive quarters of a headcount reduction. This quarter, both TCS and Infy have reported a headcount decline. And finally, attrition numbers. Again, for the peers so far, attrition has moderated. Wipro numbers usually out around 4 o'clock. So we'll get you up to speed once the numbers come out. But these are the big expectations. But the big boy, HDFC Bank, everyone's going to be watching that. Numbers will be out tomorrow. Abhishek joins in with the expectation. Abhishek, historically, HDFC Bank was always known as the bank with the steadiest earnings. They give you a pre-quarter update. So what's the street expecting?
Well, this time around, don't expect a steady state quarter because there is one-off in their other income as they have sold a stake in SDFC Credila. So that will impact the overall profitability as well. The key numbers that they had given out in terms of business momentum, deposit momentum was really strong, growing at 7.5% quarter-on-quarter. And one of the key highlight was the improvement in CASA ratio as well, which we have not seen for a long time for the banking sector as well. So CASA ratio improved. However, loan growth was pretty dismal, growing at 1.5% quarter-on-quarter because other wholesale loans had declined more than 2% on a sequential basis. So the key thing to watch is that the net interest margin is expected to remain stable at 3.4% as per Nomura estimate. Some analysts have pegged in that net interest margin can decline by 5 to 6 basis points on a sequential basis. As I mentioned, there can be a one-off in the other income as well as they sold their stake in SDFC Credila to Chris Capital and others, which was around 9,500 to 9,600 crores, which can actually boost the other income. Now, analysts are pegging slippages to be around 7,500 crore, which compares to 7,000 crore in the previous quarter. However, expect a steady state of numbers with respect to asset quality momentum, that is the gross NPA ratio. Credit cost expected to remain stable or decline on a sequential basis. Now, we are comparing only quarter-on-quarter with respect to our poll because SDFC Limited got merged last year. So NII is expected to grow at 1.4% quarter-on-quarter. PAT is estimated to grow at 12% quarter-on-quarter. But just to highlight our viewers, the PAT is a huge variance between analyst community. Some are pegging it at 15,000 crore while others are pegging it at a high of 22,000 odd crores as well. So this other income can actually impact the profitability of SDFC Bank this time around. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Abhishek, for joining in there. HDFC Bank now surging to the day's high ahead of its results and contributing to some bit of the Nifty's recovery from the lowest point of the day. Past the 1500 mark now is HDFC Bank. Time for a short break. Up next, when we return, we bring you Infosys and Bajaj Auto. Both stocks seeing some contrasting fortunes. Infosys, after some bad numbers, is recovering from the lows of the day, but Bajaj Auto, after good numbers, is seeing some profit booking. Back on the other side, we'll get you more. Back with us here on Trading Hour, the Nifty continues to recover from the lowest point of the day, now is closing in on 21,880 as we speak, slowly and steadily moving back towards the 21,900 mark, and leading the recovery is HDFC Bank, and along with that, some semblance of recovery coming in on Infosys as well. The stock that opened around about 3% lower is now down just 1% and has recovered significantly from the lowest point of the day. There you can see there now just 1% lower on Infosys, back above 1400 now. The numbers were not so good, Reema, but what is it that is leading to this recovery?
Well, a couple of things. One, the stock had already fallen 15% since the Accenture numbers. Two, the valuations of the company. Now the stock, after the correction that we've seen, is trading at 20 times forward multiple, while the 5-year average has been about 23 times. So it's not the valuations are uncomfortable. It typically bottoms out at a lower level. But valuations today are not uncomfortable. And three is that maybe the street sees the guidance as a bit conservative, or there is hope that they could positively surprise on the guidance. Now, the company is guided for a 1 to 3% revenue growth for FY25. Right? They could have been, conservative, because last year they had to downgrade their guidance multiple times. So this time the guidance is seen more realistic. But considering that they won 80% new deals in FY24, right, they will ramp up. And plus, if the cycle turns, discretionary demand starts coming back, and Infosys has a higher leverage to discretionary spending, the shorter cycle discretionary project. So if, say, in Q3, Q4, things start turning around, then maybe there is some scope for a positive surprise. Even on margins. Now, FY25, the company continues to guide for a 20 to 22% margin guidance, right? So that's unchanged. But, in the call, they said that their Project Maximus, which is their margin maximization plan, focusing on cost optimization, is going very well. And over the medium term, they do see some margin upside or enhancement. So I think these are some factors which may be working in Infosys' favor, but I think principally it's the fact that the stock has underperformed. It's down 15% since the Accenture numbers, and that could be, supporting it today.
You'd rather under-promise and over-deliver instead of the other way around. And I guess the acquisition that they made yesterday,
yes,
450 million euros.
That's not included.
They mentioned that it's not included in their guidance. So that might also be a bit of.
But that is separate, right? I think the street wants to see if the organic guidance can be better than 1 to 3%. Right now, consensus expectation is that growth will be closer to the upper end, like 2.5, 2.8, 2.9 are the numbers that are being thrown around by the analysts. So if indeed things are a little better, right? If the discretionary spending comes back, then maybe there is scope from going from 2.8 to a 3.2%. And I think that could be one factor people are watching out for.
Hope is indeed the word, right? And the stock showing that recovery from the lowest point of the day. The ADR was also down almost 8% at one point, but ended 2.5% lower overnight, recovering significantly from the day's low. In fact, staying with the numbers from Infosys, CEO Salil Parekh, while addressing a press conference yesterday, spoke about the company's outlook for FY25. Listen to what he had to say.
The environment in terms of discretionary and digital work is similar to what we've ended in this year. We also had good traction in large deals, some of which will flow through in the next year, given the duration of those deals. Keeping that in mind, our growth guidance for next year is as a band higher than where we finished for this year. We see, for example, financial services to see a better outlook in the next year compared to the past year. We see, for example, manufacturing, which will have, while it'll still grow next year, will have a slightly slower growth than this year.
Infosys CEO Salil Parekh there sharing his outlook for FY25. But on to the other number that came out yesterday after market hours, that is Bajaj Auto, and that stock, as we were highlighting, is seeing a bit of profit booking despite a strong set of fourth quarter results. Sudarshan is joining in with the highlights. Good numbers from Bajaj Auto, Sudarshan, but the stock is seeing a bit of profit booking.
That's good. So there is nothing much to complain about. If we talk about the earnings, it was better than estimates. Margin has improved 80 bips year-on-year to 20.1%, and it was driven by dollar realization, operating leverage, and favorable product mix on premiumization. But there is a bull versus bear case. If I talk about the bull, first one is JP Morgan. It has an overweight rating. Target is raised to rupees 10,000 per share. It says Q4 earnings are 5% ahead of expectations. Management commentary was positive and believes company should grow faster due to several launches, and exports will continue improving. It has raised FY25-26 EPS estimates by 5 to 6%. Next is Jefferies. It has a buy rating and target is raised to rupees 10,500 per share. It expects 19% EPS CAGR over FY24-26 and has raised FY25-26 EPS estimates by 4%. Now coming to the bear case, first one is CLSA. It has a sell rating, but target is raised to rupees 6,889 per share. It says it expects company to gain market share, but also expects export volumes to increase at a mid-single digit rate, but believes stock is overvalued following the recent rally. Next is Citi. It has a sell rating, but target is raised to rupees 6,500 per share. It says Q4 earnings are ahead of estimates, driven by better than expected realization, but export recovery is likely to be more gradual, and three-wheeler demand growth in FY25 should moderate versus FY24 levels.
Thank you very much for that. Now let's get in the management view, right? Rakesh Sharma, ED of Bajaj Auto. We chatted with him earlier. Listen in to his excerpts from the conversation we had.
Q4, we have grown twice the rate of the industry growth. And in the 125cc plus, the upper half of the industry, we have grown 4 times that of the industry size. Now, this has been driven by largely, the slew of new launches, which have been very well received in the Pulsar brand. So we have already got traction, and we have confident that this should continue. So if the industry returns something like a 7 to 8% growth, I'm expecting that the structure of the growth will be similar, which is the top half will grow faster than the bottom half, and we will grow faster than the industry in both the top half and the bottom half. If the industry grows at 7 to 8%, I have no reason to believe, given the track record, that why we should not be in double digits. We would certainly be driving for a double-digit growth.
Very confident management there of Bajaj Auto. But time for a short break here on Trading Hour. Up next, the first phase of the Lok Sabha elections of 2024 is underway. We'll get you an extensive coverage on the same when we return on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The 2024 general election is now underway with 102 seats up for grabs in 21 states across the country. Parikshit is standing by to get us the latest. Parikshit. Okay, we'll get to Parikshit in just a bit, but this is India's dance of democracy. Okay, we'll get to Parikshit in just a bit and get a quick handle. By the way, on the markets, Nifty continues to inch closer to the 21,900. Not there quite yet, but it's a 100-point fall as we speak. That said, global markets continue to remain fairly downbeat. So the cuts there are deeper. Taiwan is down 3.7%, Nikkei is down over 2%. Korean markets have recovered, but still staring at a fall of 1.5%, and Hang Seng is down over 1%. So in that context, the cut on the Indian market is not as deep, but week to date, we've lost nearly 3%. But getting back to Parikshit to get us up to speed on what's happening on day one of the voting. Parikshit.
Well, yes, the election 2024 has kicked off. We're seeing polling across 102 constituencies out of 543 Lok Sabha constituencies across the country. So election is on in 21 states currently. And if you look at the 2019 numbers, there were 49 seats which actually went to the India Alliance, 46 to the NDA. So in a way, the opposition had made more gains in 2019 in these 102 seats. So which are the areas going to polls this time around? The big prize would be Tamil Nadu. All 39 seats in Tamil Nadu going to polls today. This is a very important state for the NDA to make inroads. They did not win any seat here in the last Lok Sabha election, and they really need to win at least some seats here if they want to get close to the 400 plus tally that they've been speaking about. 15 seats in the northeast, including 5 seats in Assam, the whole state of Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, you've got 12 seats, you've got about 8 seats in Uttar Pradesh also going to polls today, 4 seats in Bihar, another 4 in Maharashtra. So it's an important election. Let's look at Tamil Nadu a little more closely, because this is going to be a very important battle for every political party. This was where the DMK and the opposition alliance had gained in a major way in 2019. 38 seats out of 39 going to the opposition, 1 to the ADMK, and NDA could not open its account. So what are some of the factors that will be at play? There are at least 10 seats where DMK, ADMK, BJP have a three-way contest. In fact, the whole of Tamil Nadu this time is a three-way contest because ADMK is not siding with the BJP this time around. Kachativu, you've been repeatedly hearing about the Prime Minister, the BJP, hitting out at the Congress party, saying that you gave away the Kachativu island to Sri Lanka. According to our analysis, there are at least 6 seats where the Kachativu point or the issue could have some impact. And these were seats that had been won by the India Alliance last time around. Now, if you look at the VIP candidates, you've got VIP candidates in Chennai Central, Chennai South, also in Coimbatore. Coimbatore, why is Coimbatore important? You've got K. Annamalai, the BJP state president, contesting from here. And BJP is hoping he'll help change things around for the party in the state. Let's get you also figures from Uttar Pradesh now, a key state for the BJP. This has been a bastion of the BJP. 8 seats here going to polls. Only 3 were won by the BJP in the last election. Pilibhit is something that we're watching out very closely. Jitin Prasad is fighting on a BJP ticket. It's not Varun Gandhi this time around. We're also going to see a tight contest, at least in 2 to 3 seats, which had been won by the Samajwadi Party or the BSP last time around. So it's not going to be so easy, but winning all of these seats, which they had lost last time, is important for the BJP to increase its overall tally. Let's also look at Rajasthan. 12 seats in Rajasthan going to polls today. Now, this was a state where the BJP had done well. They won about 24 seats out of 25, almost swept the state. But this time, a lot has actually changed. The BJP was not very confident about at least 11 MPs. They dropped them. These were MPs in Jaipur, in Alwar, Churu, Jhunjhunu. You have the MP from Bikaner, the sitting union minister, Arjun Ram Meghwal, who has been repeated. But 11 MPs were dropped. So this shows you that the BJP is being very careful with its performance in Rajasthan. They want to make sure that they retain their seats and they can counter the opposition's charge as well. Now, once again, if we look at an overall national picture, Northeast will be very crucial as well. 15 seats in the Northeast. What happens here? Uttarakhand, also what happens in the 4 to 5 seats there. Maharashtra, we're looking at a battle for Nagpur very closely. This is where Nitin Gadkari is fighting against Vikas Thackeray of the Congress party. And Nitin Gadkari is hoping for a hat-trick this time around. So let's see how the NDA, how the Congress, how the India Alliance performs in this first phase of 102 constituencies.
Extensive analysis, Parikshit. Thanks a lot for joining in. And Parikshit highlighted one seat in his analysis, and that was Pilibhit. And my colleague Abhimanyu Sharma is joining us live from Pilibhit. Abhimanyu, the first time since 1996 that a non-Gandhi will be elected from this seat. How's the voter turnout been this morning so far?
Well,
Well, the voter turnout till now has been quite tepid, but it's expected to pick up during the day. Also, many voters whom we spoke to earlier in the day, they were complaining about the heat, and it's expected that as the day progresses, more people would come to the polling booths and the voting percentage is going to increase. As far as the prospects are concerned, the India Alliance candidate from the Samajwadi Party is also no political greenhorn. He has also been an MLA several times and also a minister in the previous Samajwadi Party state government of Uttar Pradesh. The BSP candidate also is an experienced candidate who has been a former minister in the UP government. Meanwhile, the BJP, which is currently in power, which has an MP, Varun Gandhi, from this seat, they may have replaced Varun Gandhi with Jitin Prasada, but Jitin Prasada continues to remain confident about the BJP's prospects, not just from this seat, but also for the entire country. Also, it has been stated several times by not just the India Alliance candidates, but also several other candidates who are not a part of the India Alliance, even the BSP for that matter, that they are expecting to gain from the anti-incumbency. Now, an interesting thing to look at as far as this constituency or even the state of Uttar Pradesh is concerned, in 2019, the SP and the BSP combined had managed to win some seats, but this time the SP and BSP are contesting separately, and the SP has Congress by its side. So the alliance, the opposition alliance, this time comprises of the Samajwadi Party and the Congress, and BSP is fighting separately. And the BSP may not have been in power since the past few elections, but let's not forget that their vote share continues to remain constant, and that is one of the reasons why they have been quoted in the recent past by several parties, both from the opposition as well as from the ruling alliance. And also, when we spoke to Jitin Prasad earlier in the day, he had expressed confidence about his prospects, and this is exactly what he told CNBC-TV18.
I can assure you that I have been on the ground and I'm seeing a tremendous surge in support in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party and especially the Prime Minister and his 10 years of governance and his track record, where various schemes have transcended down to the last mile and the beneficiaries are visible and people are wanting the third term for Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Sir, speaking of anti-incumbency, what do you feel is going to be the impact? Because the India Alliance is claiming that they are going to cut the possibility of any division in votes. Is that going to impact BJP's prospects?
No, I'm just telling you that the phenomena of anti-incumbency is over. Since the time Prime Minister and his work of 10 years, he has transcended all these boundaries and is a pro-incumbency. People want the return of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji for the third time to continue the work and take it forward what has happened in 10 years.
Okay, moving on now to another state in the north, that's Rajasthan. CNN News 18's Yash Goyal is now joining us from Alwar in Rajasthan. Yash, hi, what's the mood like?
Well, right now, if we talk about numbers and the people actually are coming out to vote, in fact, the voting percentage is also out as per 11 a.m. data. Around 24% people have already voted in Alwar constituency. In fact, I'll give you a glimpse of this very booth as well. You can see how the voters are actually queuing up since morning. Early in the morning, the people were actually, the queues were not that big, but now people are actually turning up to vote, to actually cast their vote and actually exercise their franchise. In fact, Rajasthan is also seemingly one of the most interested areas by both the ruling dispensation and by the opposition as well, because this time around 12 seats are up for grabs in the state. In fact, in this very first phase, and as of now, if you look at numbers from the last 2 years, the Bharatiya Janata Party has managed to get all those seats. In fact, in 2019, it was 24 for them, but the entire NDA alliance clinched all the 25 seats. So this time around, it will be a Herculean task for the ruling dispensation at center to actually retain all those seats, because this time around, what the BJP is eyeing upon is that 400 mark, which the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is talking about. Apart from the numbers, in fact, I'll also want to give you a glimpse of this very polling booth, how the Election Commission has actually managed to do a lot of stuff so that people could actually come and vote. vote. In fact, there is a selfie booth also which has been installed at this very polling booth, where you can just click your selfie and then upload it on one of the designated portals, and then you'll receive a letter of appreciation or a certificate of appreciation from the district magistrate. So that is why a lot of people actually, even the first time voters, are actually venturing out to actually be part of this very exercise. In fact, the numbers are moving in a brisk pace. In fact, Rajasthan is also one of those states which has actually started to witness a heat wave as well. So the sun is heating up, so as the political battle as of now in Alwar. Back to you.
The sun is heating up as well as the political battle. Thanks a lot, Yash, for joining in from that exclusive update from Alwar. Next up, the focus on the big state from the south, and that is Tamil Nadu. And my colleague Jude Saneth fills us with the latest from Chennai. Jude, over to you.
Well, the long and short of it is that the turnout, at least this time around, is a lot more than usual. We are seeing some ambling of voters as they make their way, coming to line up at their nearest poll booth and cast their vote, really. Remember, the voter turnout is traditionally less than expected as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. You normally see middling 60s to early 70s in terms of percentages of voters turning out. But what we have been seeing is a number of voters who have been turning out as far as this state and the city of Chennai is concerned, at least in early parts of the morning itself. However, the fact is that a large number of these queues are largely because we have been seeing some malfunctioning of EVMs in multiple booths across the state from the early parts of the morning, which have led to longer queues and longer times taken to vote, really. So that's the ground situation as far as Chennai is concerned. But the fact is that it is indeed a crucial vote for Chennai. Remember, it's a three-cornered contest between the BJP, the DMK and the AIADMK insofar as Tamil Nadu is concerned. And that's pretty much brought these long lines of voters to the poll booth, really, to cast their franchise. Remember, 39 out of 39 seats from the state go to the polls today. There's the extra seat for Puducherry as well in the region. So that's part of the list of constituencies that will poll today. Remember, key candidates as well. The DMK fielding all its incumbent candidates from crucial constituencies like North, South and Central Chennai, including constituencies like Sriperumbudur, Nilgiris and a constituency like Thoothukudi that are seeing names like T.R. Balu, A. Raja and Kanimori all recontest existing incumbent seats. This even as the BJP is playing challenger by fielding its state president in K. Annamalai from its recent stronghold in Coimbatore, even as bigger names like Pon Radhakrishnan and Central Minister of State L. Murugan are being fielded from constituencies like Kanyakumari and the Nilgiris. The AIADMK, remember, cannot be counted out simply because the party has a strong position insofar as the constituency, the Kongu region is concerned, which includes constituencies like Dharmapuri, Coimbatore, Erode and Salem. So a three-cornered contest, well and truly. Issues like fiscal consolidation, fiscal allotment, flood relief, the Kachative Island, a number of issues really at stake as far as Tamil Nadu's voter is concerned. But which way will they go in a three-cornered contest? We don't quite know that just as yet. But I guess the next few weeks will tell us. Back to you.
Jude Saneth bringing in the latest from Tamil Nadu. But time for a short break here on Trading Hour. Up next, we get back to the markets. Mitesh Thakkar joins in with some technical strategies on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. The Nifty is now back above 21,900, still nursing a cut of about 80 points, but there has been a recovery. Cipla has seen quite a bit of an up move. It's now up 0.5%. And just in the last 1 hour, we've seen the stock recover close to about 1.5% from the day's low. Bharti Airtel also is a stock which yesterday was up close to about 4-5%, one of the top Nifty gainers, and it's followed it up with another gain of nearly about 0.5%. But you know, HDFC Bank is going into its earnings strong. HDFC Bank has a green tick of more than about 0.5%, 0.7%, and ITC too has been one of the big leaders since morning. Mitesh is now with us for a quick technical check on the markets. Mitesh, pretty decent recovery in the morning. You were telling us 21,950 is a level you'll watch closely, and we are getting there.
Yes, in fact, we are getting close to it. Now, let's see if we can get an hourly close about that. But I think that's the, in the short term trend decided. In case we start doing that, then I think we'll try to cover up our short position and explore long again. For the timing, I have a sell call on Lupin. Token gap down and still remains weak. So keep a stop above levels of 1590 here. Look for a target of around 1510, 1505 to begin with. Maybe, we may get lower levels. And on the buy side is Ultratech Cement. After a good correction is recovering. So take a trading bet, it is stop below 93.10 for targets of around 9500.
What about specific stocks, Bitesh? You just highlighted Ultratech. Is there anything else that is catching your eye as of now? What about ITC? Is there any levels that you are tracking there?
I think, again, with the broader market correction, what ITC did was it did fall, but it was outperformed. So it wasn't falling much. So in that sense, ITC is a strong stock for me. But looks like in this corrective zone will be more of a sideways kind of a trend. On the upside is at levels of 438 is the 200 average, and we got a high of 437, I think, on the 10th of April. So that remains an important level to watch. And on the downside, 410 is a good support. 410, 438 broadly is the range for me.
Thanks a lot, Mitesh, for joining in with your strategies on the index and specific stocks as well. But the other stock that is in focus this hour is Tata Communications, and that stock is under pressure despite the broader market staging a bit of a recovery there. But after the earnings, Reema, the company had its analyst call yesterday, and it does look like the street is not taking it too well when it comes to management commentary.
No, and with the fall today, the stock has even breached its 200-day moving average. In fact, if you pull up a 1-month chart of Tata Communication, you would see the stock has slipped 12.5% since the beginning of this month. The 1-month chart will show you the slide that we have been seeing in Tata Communications. Well, back to the numbers. Kotak has come out with a note. They have a sell call. They've lowered the target price to 1525. The problem is organic growth revenue. Organic is X of the acquisitions of Switch Kalera, which the company did, and organic revenue growth for the company has moderated to just 5%. This is on the back of continued headwinds from the global slowdown. The management said the ordering funnel, the pipeline remains strong, but order booking, converting those into revenues has been slower than expectation. Decision making is delayed. Margins too have been very, very subdued and declining for the company. This quarter, margins are down to 18.5%. The management in the call did talk about margins recovering in FY25. They also, reiterated their long-term forecast, that is doubling data revenue by FY27 and getting margins back in the 23 to 25% band from the current 18.5%. But Kotak believe that both these ambitions remain a tall task. So, which is why they further lowered the target price to 1525, and they have a sell call on the stock.
Sell call on the stock from Kotak. 8th day of losses for Tata Communications. This stock was around 2,000 rupees. Now it's down to around 1760. So 14% in these last 8 sessions that Tata Communications has seen. So not good going there for the stock. But at time for a short break here. Up next, we'll discuss market fundamentals. Nilesh Shetty of Quantum Advisors joins us on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's get chatting about the markets. Nilesh Shetty, portfolio manager at Quantum Advisors, is with us on the show. Nilesh, first just wanted to get your quick comments in on the two big stocks of the morning. One is Infosys and the other one is Bajaj Auto. Where do you stand? And, the kind of reaction that we've seen. Infi bad numbers, but the stock is recovering. Bajaj Auto's good numbers, but the stock has slipped.
Generally, I will not be able to comment on individual stocks, but the IT sector is a sector where, it's not participated in the rally at all last 1 year. Generally, valuations have come off, and it may be getting to a zone where value investors like us might think of increasing weight there. Still not there, but see, the numbers are not a surprise. The managements have always indicated that the demand environment currently remains weak, but at some point you expect some traction in the numbers, and at some point when valuations look like they are attractive enough, value investors like us will start adding weight there. Consumer discretionary, last 2 years has been phenomenal for them. They've had very strong rally in the markets, and valuations are getting expensive. The correction just could be a sell on news kind of correction where people have anticipated strong results and are booking profits there. But otherwise, getting value in the consumer discretionary space, especially two-wheelers, is not easy right now. They are getting to a zone where they're expensive.
But Nilesh, I wanted to ask you specifically about ICICI Securities. I know you don't talk about specific stocks, but there has been some mutual fund activity in the month of March when it comes to buying within this counter, especially when it comes to now that it's going to be delisted and it's a subsequent merger with ICICI Bank. What are your thoughts there? What is happening within this this merger process, and if you can share your thoughts on the larger private banks as well.
Yeah, so on ICICI Securities, it is a portfolio stock for us as well as for a 100% subsidiary Quantum Mutual Fund. Now, the entire merger process is actually a alarm in the sense that minority investors were completely sidelined. And it sets a very bad precedent. As long as a majority shareholder gets proxy advisors on their side, who may not necessarily be 100% independent in this case, where they may have business links with the group companies, including some of the asset management subsidiaries. As long as they say that the merger is fine, institutions will stop thinking whether the substance of the transaction makes sense and just go with it. So if you see the merger voting process, most of the institutions have just copy-pasted the suggestion given by the proxy voters without any independent application of thought. Just the rough cut numbers that suggest, so the mid-cap index trades at 28 times. ICICI Securities peers trade at an average of 34 times. Based on the bumper results that it is announced yesterday, just on the trading numbers, this company is now trading at 13 times trailing earnings in a bull market. And if you do rough cut numbers, the transfer of wealth from the minority shareholders to the major shareholder, in this case, is in the region of 2,000 crores to 8,000 crores. And the regulator has been completely silent. And it sets a very dangerous precedent where as long as a majority shareholder is able to influence proxy voters and get the proxy voters to say this transaction is fine, all the institutions who are meant to be fiduciaries of their unit holders will stop thinking and just go with the proxy advice. That is where the big concern is. I'm hoping at some point the regulators step in and ask the entire process to be redone. I will be surprised if the proxy voters again come back with the same recommendation, given how apparent the undervaluation is. But it is a big shame that the minority investors have been completely duped by all the stakeholders, the independent board members of ICICI Securities, the proxy voter advisory, in this case, who may not be 100% independent.
Right. So, Nilesh, you're saying that the potential loss is to the tune of 2,000 crore rupees for ICICI Securities, right? That's the value which is being transferred to ICICI Bank.
Minimum, because if you just take the lowest peer valuation, and you apply that to the trailing EPS multiple, that is the lowest. You take the average, the number will just multiply. It could be 3x or 4x of that.
So have you brought this up with the regulator?
So the subsidiary, 100% subsidiary, in this case, Quantum Mutual Fund, has written to the board, to the management of ICICI Securities. We have written to the regulator as well. I expect at some point, some institutional investors, including our subsidiary, may take legal action against this entire transaction.
Has there been no response from either ICICI Bank or the regulator to the letter that you've written?
I don't think they have responded as yet. At least I don't think our subsidiary has told us that there's been a response.
Right. What about metals then, Nilesh? The metals have been outperformers over the last month or so, considering the rise in commodity prices all across the globe, be it aluminum, copper, zinc, coal, all of them are at multi-month highs. Do you still consider metals a tactical play, if at all? Or is there some value, or is the cycle finally turning for a lot of these metals? And if that is so, whether it is the ferrous or the non-ferrous side, which side are you on?
The entire commodity space and metals in general, you want to buy that bucket when you think others are very, very pessimistic. And you want to buy companies where you think the balance sheet can handle a downturn. When metal prices are rising and a lot of the good news is factored, that is the wrong time to enter the metal space. So for us, over the last sort of 6 months, we've been actually trimming our metal position because valuations are now factoring an upturn and the margin of safety is lower in this space. But this probably would be a wrong time to add into the metal space.
Okay. What else, have you looked at? What is the opportunity that's emerging in the last few weeks?
The most apparent opportunity remains private sector banks. The entire market rally has happened without them participating. at some point, I'm assuming corporate capex cycle will pick up and corporate credit will pick up, which is when these stocks will start rallying. But at the most, the biggest opportunity set remains private sector banks.
Private sector banks. But what about pharma then, Nilesh? A lot of these stocks were rank outperformers during the COVID times, but now they are seeing a bit of a reversion to mean. There have been a lot of stars during the COVID times that are not doing well today, say the likes of Laurus and Gland Pharma and all of these kind of names. I know you won't talk specific stocks there, but pharma in itself is such a wide basket, right? Every stock has its own speciality. What is it within the pharma space that you like, if at all you do?
Yeah, we've had positions in the larger names. We've not gone lower in the ranking in the mid-cap pharma space where there could be opportunities. But once generic pricing in the US sort of stabilized, you saw a big rally over the last 1 year in some of our pharma names, especially in the larger cap names. So we've actually trimmed our position there. We don't see much value at the moment in that bucket.
Pleasure speaking to you as always, Nilesh. Thanks a lot for joining in and sharing your views on the markets and on specific sectors as well. That was Nilesh Shetty there of Quantum Advisors. Time for a short break though. The Nifty is back above the 21,900 mark. We'll get you more on the markets and specific stocks on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back with us on Trading Hour, the Nifty continues to recover from the lowest point of the day, now almost at 21,902. It was at 21,910 at one point of time, but seeing some bit of resistance at that 21,900 mark as we speak. Still a 100-point downtick on the index. And if you remember, the swing low of 20th of March is 21,710. From there, the Nifty had rallied almost 1,000 points and it has given up almost 80% of that rally. So we'll keep an eye out on all of these levels, because even yesterday the markets were fairly okay until 1:30, and then we saw that sharp reversal from the highest point of the day till the end of the trading day. For the week though, down for the 5th straight day is the Nifty. What is bucking the trend though in an otherwise weak market is Prestige Estates. It's not seeing some remarkable gains, but it is in positive territory. Is the only stock in the realty index that is doing well this morning. And you can see that 0.3% higher for Prestige Estates at a time when most of the other realty stocks like Phoenix Mills, Godrej Properties, all of them are trading with losses of anywhere between 1.5% to 3.5%. What is also not doing well in today's session is HDFC AMC, and that is going to report results today. That stock is down 3%. ICICI Prudential is down 2.5%, as is Jubilant Foodworks. So a lot of pressure there in the broader markets there. HDFC AMC now 3% ahead of earnings, when ICICI Prudential also down 2.5%. What's catching your eye, Rima?
Well, 3 stocks. One, Indus Stars continues to see buying. So Vodafone Idea has corrected, but Indus Stars is seeing buying on the back of an improved financial health for Vodafone Idea. And I think this is lifetime high levels for Indus Stars. We've been highlighting how the stock has been on a one-way rally, 20% gain in the month of April, 75% since the start of the year. The other one is Just Dial. Now, Just Dial came out with their numbers. The stock reacted with a, I think, double-digit up move yesterday, but today it's followed it up with another 3% up move. And Just Dial is now comfortably above the 1,000 rupee mark. So strong follow-on buying seen for Just Dial, and that is important after the kind of gains we had yesterday. And the third one is Persistent Systems. Now, Persistent Systems will be reporting numbers on Sunday. So today the entire IT pack is down. Pull up the Nifty IT index and you will see across the board, deep cuts. So large cap IT names are, trading with cuts of about 1 to 2%. Even a TCS is down. HCL Tech is down 1.5%. But Persistent Systems is holding up in the green ahead of its numbers. Not by much, but, it's still up close to about 0.5%. So Persistent was one of the fastest growing IT companies, right? 30% revenue growth last year, the year before that. It was trading at very high valuations also because of the kind of growth they were clocking in. But then with the rest of the industry, it went through a bit of a slowdown. So again, since this will be the first of the mid-cap earnings, which will be out on Sunday, and it's been a darling of investors for the kind of wealth it's created, it's going to be high on investors' radar. But out of time.
Best performer on the Modi 2.0 government as well over the last 5 years. Yes, it was Persistent Systems within the IT pack. So quite a darling of the street, as Reema was highlighting. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Trading Hour from Reema, myself, and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, by the end of the day, we'll get to say that the Nifty finally saw a dip that got bought into. But halftime report takes the action forward.